listening to Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go.
Good morning.
Hello.
Oh, I'm so tired. I decided to sound like I'm 80 today to match my insides.
I don't know why, but I'm wired.
Yeah.
So
Whoa, Chris, I've been firing things off.
Let's go.
I know you guys usually think that it's me that you have to worry about. I really
have to worry about.
It's Kristen you have to worry about today. She's the loose cannon today. Okay.
Feels like it sounds like I've had a bucket of coffee. I've only had a little bit.
She sounds like she has reached the end of her rope and she is now has no patience for any of you people. So
no, it's more like I got ideas firing off all over my brain. So let's go.
Okay. Well, you sound sassy, and that's usually the corner I'm working.
Well, you're too tired, so I got you.
Yeah, I'm tired. I don't care. Okay. Well, hello. This is Dear Krachel, our monthly podcast advice column. We've got 3 questions today. They're all career related.
Sometimes we do a little bit more of a smattering.
I did do a grab bag last month. This month, there was just an abundance of career questions. So, I mean, I'm happy to answer whatever questions are, come through and are halfway smart.
Sure.
I mean, we do get a few dumb questions here and there, and I just go, thank you very much. And I don't answer that.
So, who's the sassy one?
Well, I never changed. Listen, I never said I wasn't. I just said I was tired. Okay. So do you want to just dive in?
Let's just jump in.
I'm going to read the first one.
Okay.
Okay. Because, well, I think we both know why I need to read this one. Okay. All right. Dear Krachel, I've been in corporate marketing for the past 15 plus years. Now I'm exhausted and it no longer gives me joy. In fact, I dread getting up in the morning to do it. I want to pivot to selling real estate. This is a big decision since I'm in my early 40s. Should I be scared of making the leap? Pondering in California. Now, you and I were talking about these questions ahead of time. Okay. And I want you to answer it the way you did when the microphone wasn't recording.
I mean, yeah, you should totally be scared. I mean, like, you're definitely way too old to make any changes, and you should probably just stay right where you are and let the fear win. Let's go. Like, no, obviously, that's not what we're going to say.
That wasn't nearly as sassy as your off microphone thing, but we'll allow it.
I mean, I love this question because it embodies a lot of what we end up coaching around, which is, I have an idea, I want to do a thing, and I'm terrified to do the thing.
And I'm looking for somebody to give me permission to do the thing.
So if you ever come to us with the question, I want to do a thing, should I be scared to make the leap?
And am I too old?
I mean, any day of the week, I will always, always, always tell you, do the thing.
Right. What? Like,
do the thing.
Why wouldn't you do the thing? We're all going to die is what I said off mic. I was like, we're all, and I know I've said this before, but I just want to remind you that we are all going to die. And that means you're not going to give a crap when you are actually 80 on the outside, not just on the inside. You're not going to give a crap that you took a risk in your 40s. You're going to be grateful that you took a risk and that you did something different, and that if you're already dreading and so drained by your extensive career in corporate marketing, you're not going to be like, oh damn, I really wish I'd stayed in corporate marketing. You're going to be telling your grandchildren there was once a thing called corporate marketing and I did it. This was before the bots did everything, and we just I don't know, lived like we're in Wall-E or something.
Oh God.
I don't know. You're not gonna regret it. You might, here's the thing, regret I don't know where I'm going with this, but here we go. Regret, I think, is something that we experience close up. Like, oh, I made a decision and 6 months later, it's feeling chaotic. It's, it's giving, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent, But like 40 years later, typically you're so far removed from it and things have sort of stabilized that you're like, oh, that was fun. What an adventure that was.
Right. Almost like you're reading a novel of somebody else's life.
Right. So in it, you might experience a lot of fear. You might experience instability. You might be like, what the hell did I get myself into? You might be like, this was a giant mistake. But if you give it long enough, you're not going to have any of those thoughts and feelings. Even if something goes way differently than you expected. Even if you do it and it doesn't turn out to be like the thing that you want to keep doing for the next decade, I guarantee you that whatever path you end up on will lead you to something that you are more interested in and that you do end up wanting to do for longer.
And it's certainly going to be more interesting than just staying with what you know, which is miserable.
Yeah. That reminds me of something Liz Gilbert says in Big Magic, that she talks about reframing fear to interesting. Like instead of saying, oh, I'm so scared of that, or, oh, that, that's so I'm afraid of it. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
Or that's going to be interesting.
And I think that's such a good reframe because it will be, no matter what happens, it's going to be interesting.
Yep. And this person is so much further ahead than they realize. First of all, they know that they're unhappy with what they're doing.
Right.
They know what they want to be doing.
Yeah.
I want to pivot to selling real estate. There's a lot of clarity in that statement.
They probably have some overlap in their skills and their experience that translates very well to selling real estate too.
So you have a point A of where you are. You know where point B is. You may not know all the steps to get there, but you certainly could figure out 1 or 2 first steps, and you don't have to make a big drastic change all at once either. You don't have to completely quit your corporate marketing job.
You could contract if you want to and be a freelance corporate marketer and, sell real estate.
Or you could get your real estate license on the side. You can study for that in the evenings or
maybe they already have.
I don't for it at work. I don't care. Take some downtime while you're at work and do some studying for your real estate exam. Why not?
I've got plenty of people who only work 20 to 30 hours a week, and like it takes them 20 to 30 hours a week to do their 40-hour-a-week job. I'm like, great, do something else in that time.
Sure, you can absolutely get started studying for becoming a real estate agent.
We don't know that she hasn't already. We don't know how far down the road of this she is, but
I don't know. There's a lot of fear, so I don't know if the fear has stopped you from taking any steps, or if the fear has stopped you from taking
the ultimate
step of quitting the job. I don't know, but wherever you are, there's a middle ground. You could sell real estate very part-time while you scale back on your job. Or you could just quit if you're in a financial position to do that. But if you're scared, why not take it a little slower? There's no reason that you have to just make an abrupt giant change in your life overnight.
Also, how do you feel about the way, like the very question, should I be scared?
That's a good question, because you know what? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you probably should be. That's normal.
Right. If you weren't scared, I would be like, well, you probably haven't thought through all of the potential consequences enough, right? Like you might not be, you might be going into this without having prepared at all. And we're not suggesting that. We're not suggesting that you go in with no preparation, with no, backup savings or something if you do quit your job and it doesn't take off as quickly as you want it to, whatever. We're not saying don't plan, don't prepare, but you should be scared. But that doesn't mean that you don't take action. Fear is just a natural consequence of doing something that's new.
Yeah, I feel like the real question here is, should I let the fear win?
Yeah, should I let it influence what I choose to do? And the answer is no.
The answer is no. But the answer of should I be scared? Yeah, transitions are scary. Change is scary. They're unknown. If you're not feeling scared, you're probably either a robot or you're repressing.
You're in a lot of denial.
Fear is normal when you're trying something you've never tried before. This is reminding me of Brene Brown talked about a concept years ago. It was like one of her first podcast episodes. Or she has like 3 podcasts. I don't even know. But for one of them, she talked about this concept called an FFT.
An F in first time.
Yeah, an F in first time. So the first time you do something you've never done before, it's intense, it's chaotic, it's really scary, and you're going to feel a ton of resistance and a ton of vulnerability. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. That just means you're having an FFT.
Yeah, it's just it's like a symptom.
Symptom of doing something brand new.
It's like, oh, I went to the gym for the first time in 5 years and I'm out of breath. Is this a problem? Nope. It's a symptom of being out of shape. That's all.
Yeah. I also, before we move on, I have to comment on I'm in my early 40s piece of this.
Once again, so ancient. Never do anything new again. You're done.
You're washed up.
Your life's over.
I mean, first of all, you probably have 15 to 20 or more years of work left. That's like an average of 2 decades left of your working life.
I mean, 15 if she was really lucky.
Really lucky.
Yeah.
So that's not nothing. That's not like, I've got a year and a half to retire. Can I just kind of squeeze this out? Even then.
If there are little old ladies, in Florida driving around on their golf carts, selling people real estate out the butt. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you can sell real estate at any age, just like you can golf at any age.
Exactly. And I think people have this concept of once I'm over a certain age, and everybody's concept of that is different. So for this person, I'm over 40. For somebody else, it might be I'm over 50. I'm over 30.
Don't you guys love that? This is the conspiracy, okay? That no matter what it is, it's always your age. That's the problem. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, have you ever stopped and thought that there's something suspicious about the fact that no matter what it is, I'm too old for that, I'm too young for that. It just happens to be that you are the perfect age to, that is wrong for whatever it is you're thinking of doing.
I know. You're always either too young or too old for what you need. Yep. So how does that work out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're never like, I'm the perfect age for this. No one's ever said that. No one has ever said that. So just know that that's a conspiracy in your mind.
I actually think that is the perfect age. You've had enough of a career to get a lot of clarity on what you don't want. Mm-hmm. And now you've got plenty of career left in your life to do something completely different. This is the perfect age, if you ask me. But we all have this concept in our head of after this certain time, I can't do something.
Yeah.
Who says?
Yeah, it's boring. I mean, and I'm not calling you boring pondering in California. I'm just saying it's
boring because it's so pervasive.
It's universally boring as humans. It's something we all do, and it should bore us about ourselves. Mm-hmm. So you can feel fear, but then be a little bored by it. And then just do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And then know that in your 80s, when you're driving around in your golf cart and you're selling, that young 65-year-old whippersnapper, their new condo. Well,
I've been doing it since I was a spry young 40s.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm the queen of real estate in Southern California.
Exactly.
Wait, we're in Florida. In Southern Florida.
We're all over the map today.
Maybe she has a real estate empire, okay?
Yeah.
She's got enough time to build one.
Got branches in all states.
Yep. Okay.
Question 2. Dear Krachel, I've worked in a very masculine field all my life. My parents owned a sawmill growing up, and I went to college to become an environmental engineer, and I've worked in engineering or management roles ever since. I recently turned 50, and I have a son who is 14. When he graduates high school, I will be 55 and could potentially retire early at that point. I don't necessarily want to sit around and do nothing, but I am excited for the opportunity to have the freedom to do something different if I choose to, and not have financial worries. My job is stressful, and dedicating 40 hours plus a week to do it takes a toll on my physical health. How and when do I start planning what my next chapter will look like? I feel like I'm going to need a plan, but not quite sure what to do. Any advice for this upcoming stage in my life? That is from Val.
Yes, and I'm going to point out a few things. Okay, we're just going to cut to the chase right away here. You said you've worked in a very masculine field your whole life, but then you never touched on the concept of masculine, feminine energy again. Mm-hmm. What I'm taking from this is that ain't what she wants to keep doing because, as she has said, she is burnt out and her job is stressful, and dedicating 40 hours a week to it is taking a toll on her physical health. And so what I'm taking again is that whatever you do next, you want it to have more feminine energy. You want it to have more flow, creativity. You don't want it to be a ton of pressure. I'm totally with you, and I'm for this. And therefore, I don't want you to have a plan. Do you know what a plan is? Masculine. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a time and place for plan making. I'm saying you are not at the stage where you need one. You're 5 years out. What I want is less planning, more exploring. That's more feminine energy. Exploring things that give you energy. Exploring things that you've always felt attracted to, but haven't allowed yourself to dedicate any time or energy to. Especially because your job is so draining, I would hope that you could explore things that counter that, that give you energy, that restore you, that feel like they are nurturing you. That's helping to replenish, revitalize your feminine energy. And in doing that, without any pressure, without any expectation around the outcome, eventually, once you give yourself permission to explore, you might get far enough down the road, you might have enough experience with something that you're like, okay, I really would like to go back to school for this, or I would like to become I've never tried yoga. I really want to try it. Great. Okay. You might decide, I really want to learn how to teach other people this. 5 years. You could then become a master yoga teacher with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours, I guess, of experience in 5 years. You could do anything in 5 years. So less planning, more no pressure exploring is what I want for you, Val.
And I actually love that you have this amount of time, because most of the time people are coming to us saying, I'm so disillusioned with my job. I want to quit yesterday.
Yeah.
I want something new immediately. And we often have to try to slow it down a little bit and say the more time you give yourself to explore, the better your decisions are going to be when it is time to make a decision and make a plan. And you're already in such a good position because you have this built-in buffer time. You don't have the pressure of needing to make a giant change or figure this out next week or next month. You've got this spaciousness to figure out, what do I want to do? Because I've been doing what I was kind of raised to do. You were raised in this family business and in this whole industry, and
masculine environment
led you into the kind of work you're doing today. And now you have a blank slate in a matter of 5 years. So this is the word I want to use grosses me out, but it also feels right. It's like a juicy time.
Oh, all right.
I feel like it's ripe for you to.
I like that better.
To just be drawn to things. Don't try to go figure it out. And that's what the planning side. I agree with Rachel. It feels very masculine. I got to make a plan. I've got to figure this out. I've got to answer this question. What am I going to do? That automatically puts you into your mental state, which is more of that masculine, logical, practical, what's going to happen. It's where that engineering side of you probably is really comfortable. This is going to ask you to drop more down into your body. What am I drawn to? What feels really interesting? What would be fun? What
makes me feel lighter when I think about it, or energized when I think about it? What have I always been curious about, but I haven't maybe given myself the opportunity to properly explore it?
And find low-key ways to get started. You don't have to completely devote yourself to something. You can, like Rachel said, take a yoga class or take a art class, or just go for long walks and kind of see what inspires you. Rachel and I like to, where did we get this from? I forget. We like to go on what you call following your sparkle.
Oh, well, that was from our friend Joanna, who got it from Kristen Kalp, the podcast.
Okay.
We had the podcast.
We had
her on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. She likes to just go downtown someplace or get in her car and just quote unquote follow your sparkle, and just what storefronts feel sparkly to me that I want to pop in
and see what happens,
or which direction do I feel like going in my car, and just let that intuitive side of you guide you. It's going to feel really weird to the engineering part of your brain, but that's what I want you to try, is just give yourself some of this time to do what feels good instead of what sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan will start to reveal itself over time. Because the more excited you get about something, the more drawn towards something you get, the clearer it's going to be what you need to do next. Do you want to spend more time doing that? Do you want to get some sort of certification? Do you want to go back to school for something? Do you want to just do it more often, just purely for the fun of it? What is going to come next is not your job right now to figure out. Going to just trust that to reveal itself. And you've got the time.
Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure.
All right. I mean, we could go on, but I think we'll leave it there. I think that's enough for Val to work with. Okay. Dear Krachel, hello. Is it better to just start going after one idea for a career to test it out, or wait until I really know what I want to do? I'm a side hustler and partly fire starter with so many different ideas of directions to go, but get stuck in indecisiveness when looking at careers. I've actually tended to be happy in my different roles, but my current job, taken after a layoff, is so repetitive that I now have trouble giving my all to it. My ideas go from data analytics jobs to yoga instructor to math teacher to the idea of med school to therapist. All of these would require a level of training. I wonder if I should just pick one and run with it or take longer to establish a vision. Lisa.
Okay, Lisa. I'm definitely seeing your side hustler.
Yeah, Lisa's a real side hustler.
Getting the side hustler vibes, for sure. And so, first of all, the idea of picking one thing and just going with it and ignoring everything else is probably going to feel very constricting to you.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder you're feeling resistant to, if I pick something, that means it automatically excludes everything else.
I feel like before we even get further down the road, I feel like I have to we need to pause and set a foundation for Lisa that I'm just afraid we're going to gloss over if we don't do it now.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. I just want to remind Lisa and everybody that the point of a career is to, and Kristen, in my opinion, I'm not saying this is a worldwide opinion. I'm saying it should be a worldwide opinion, but it isn't. Is your career exists to, I think, at least 70%, the reason your career exists is to support the kind of life you really want to live. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's also an outlet to express your passions, your interests, hopefully maybe to make you feel like you're doing something meaningful in the world. All of that's important too, but your career is meant to help you live the kind of life you want to live. So Lisa's not wrong when she says, should I establish a vision first? The answer to that is yeah, because look at this list of things she's given us. Data analytics, yoga instructor, math teacher, med school therapist. All of these professions pay wildly differently. Right?
And are structured completely
differently. So if you're just interested in being a yoga instructor, but you haven't paused and thought, wait, what kind of life do I want to live? And not just how much money would that life cost, though that is a good question that we need to ask, right? But there's a lot of questions we can ask, how much money does that lifestyle cost? Where do I want to live out this life? What kind of values do I want to be able to live? I really want flexibility, and I really want to be able to take a month off sometimes. Some of these jobs are going to be more aligned with how you say you want to live. And some of these things are going to be completely and utterly misaligned.
And they're going to feel completely different because of those things. So if you think about, how do I want to feel going to work every day? Do I really want to feel a lot of connection with other people? Well, then data analytics probably not going to give you a lot of that connection. You're going to be staring at a computer most of the day.
I mean, you might have to present some of your analysis about said data. Data? Ooh, what's that? Data. You're going to have to present that to other people, maybe. But I have to imagine, yeah, you're going to be alone a lot. And just behind a screen quite a lot. Whereas a yoga instructor, you might never really be behind a screen to do that.
Right. Do you want to feel a lot of movement and activity during your day? Or do you like the idea of sitting in a therapist office and having one-on-one conversations, right? These are very
Sitting over
different,
Zoom. Yeah.
very different daily experiences. So if you think about how do I want to feel on any given day, and what's
the daily
most important
experience
to me in how my career fits in with my life? Yeah, what does that daily experience look and feel like? That's going to probably automatically rule out some of these.
Plus, when you then add in the money, like how much money do I need to live the kind of life that really suits me? And I don't mean like the bare bones. I mean, how much money do I need to feel like I'm thriving? And that might be less than you expect or more. I mean, but I think most people actually can thrive on less than they think they need, you know, at least the baseline thriving. Obviously, we can do better than that. But if it's really important to you that you take like 3 international vacations a year, then okay, then you might need to make more money than if you really only care about doing that once every other year, for example. So, and again, all of these things are so wildly different that you cannot pursue something just because it's interesting to you without considering how it fits in the larger context of your life and what it is you need from your life and how a job would serve that for you.
I also think we've got to bring back the concept, we've talked about it before, but it applies here again, of the shit sandwich.
Yeah.
All of these ideas, when you're thinking about them as an idea, and this is particularly going to be true for fire starters and side hustlers who are idea generators. They just have all of the ideas and a lot of enthusiasm that they want to throw behind things that they're passionate about. It's easy to theoretically think about an idea and think about all of the cool, exciting parts of it. Then, if you really put yourself in that experience of what would it be like to be in that job, and then also what would it be like to take the steps I need to take to get to that job, it's gonna have this more realistic feel to it, where you might have to ask yourself, what are the shit sandwiches that would come with each one of these? Because there's going to be some downsides to all of them, to any job. There's going to be some things that are not your favorite, and you have to be willing to tolerate that going into it, because the enthusiasm will take you so far. But if you haven't really considered, what is this going to mean for my time? What is this going to mean for my energy? What is this going to mean for what I'm going to have to give up in order to do? Because when you pick something, you inevitably have to give something else up. What are you going to have to do toward this dream?
Yeah,
that you're not going to love, and is that worth it? And sometimes it's going to be, no, that's not worth it. And sometimes you're going to be like, yeah, that's not going to be my favorite part, but I'm willing to do that.
I'm going to use one of my favorite examples. Well, one of my favorite people to craft an example around. Let's talk about Taylor Swift, as I do every day.
I was expecting we were going to start with Taylor.
Well, I know we did just watch. As
of the time we're recording, we just watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2 days ago. We're recording this rather early, thanks to Kristen's travel schedule. But yeah, I mean, obviously we loved it. I mean, we love to see her on the field. If you don't, maybe just don't listen to this podcast. I don't know.
Are we banishing?
It's just a suggestion. No, but I'm like, how many men have probably, now I'm surmising here, but I think this is an educated guess, have met Taylor Swift and have been just like starstruck by her beauty, by her talent, by her energy, and have just gotten like way out ahead of themselves. And then realized, wait, I'm not cut out to be in a relationship with someone like this. It's happened a lot, I think. I think she's written quite a lot of songs about men like that, right? Who can't actually keep up with what it is they're pursuing because they're so interested, right? Interest only takes you so far.
Yep.
But if that person is not actually a match for how you want to live your life, I actually don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's like going to be on a world tour for 2 years. Like that's too hard for me. The long distance is too hard for me. Or I don't want to be with someone who is going to like make me feel like my career is really piddly. And, and I don't want to be with someone who's going to make me feel like small because they ask questions about her when I'm just trying to talk about the movie I just made, Like, okay, great. Well, again, interest only takes you so far. And then you got to be clear that your values are actually aligned with this thing that you're interested in.
Yep. Well, it's like even just being Taylor Swift, frankly, I think a lot of people will be like, wow, what an amazing life that would be. Like, I would love to be as rich and famous as Taylor Swift. But if you think about the shit sandwiches that come with that.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely not. No, thank you. I wouldn't take that on a silver platter if you delivered it to me. So there's going to be some people who are like, I want that enough that I am willing to travel all of the time and be away from my family and never be able to go to the grocery store.
I'm willing to sit there and be asked questions about her when I'm supposed to be talking about my job and take it with such grace and good humor and never get triggered by it. That's why we like Travis Kelce, because he just takes it with such like grace and doesn't complain about it at all. And he clearly is willing to like travel to South America on his bye week to go watch her perform. You know, like the interest is there, but then also so is the alignment with the lifestyle and the values and all of that.
Exactly. So to bring it back to you, Lisa, there's going to be some of these jobs that sound really good, but if you think about what it's really going to take, some of them you might say, I don't know if I'm willing to do that. The
glamour's going to fade really quick. And then you're left with like, how do I make this actually work? And you're not going to want to do what it takes to make it work.
So that's why I want you to mentally put yourself, this is like the beauty of the human mind, is you can imagine yourself and you can gather enough data and you can talk to people and you can really put yourself into a future scenario without having to take any steps, right? You can be like, what would that really be? Let me talk to a few doctors. Let me talk to a few therapists and yoga instructors. What is it really like? Let me see what it would take to do that. And all of that clarifying information is going to help you determine, is this what I thought it was going to be? Because some of them might be yes and some of them might be absolutely no. So we can start narrowing down, but also realize some of these you may not have, it may not be just one decision. Like, could you be a math teacher who teaches yoga on the side? Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Would the side hustle part of you really like that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Right.
So is there a way to do more than just one in a way that feels expansive and not overwhelming?
Right. Some of these things don't have to be career tracks. Some of them can be hobbies or just interests that you explore.
Right. Do you want to do some small data analytics contracts for people on the side of whatever else you're doing? Why not? Just for a fun change of pace.
Who said your hobby can't be data analytics?
Sure. Why not?
In fact, we just watched that documentary where that was that guy's hobby.
And we haven't even discussed this yet.
Okay,
so
you guys.
Do that off
but like,
microphone.
If you haven't watched Lover Stalker Killer on Netflix, you have to. Like, if you, I mean, it was like the best podcast, but it was actually a documentary. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those like 6-part murder mystery podcasts, but in fact, it was just a 90-minute documentary on Netflix. But this guy who basically cracked the whole case.
I know.
Well, I mean, I think he did do it for his job, but he also like volunteered at the sheriff's department, and like basically his skills at, you know, data and IT was what like actually cracked this case wide open. So, you know, he was just volunteering.
He was so passionate about it, though.
He was really passionate.
He had a brain tumor and he postponed his surgery from his brain tumor to help with the case. That's passion right there.
Yeah.
If you want to do a job, even if it means you might die from a brain tumor too early, I mean, you found your calling, I guess.
Anyway, so it's like not all of these things have to be your career with the capital C. Some of them can be side interests or side hustles, obviously. So, okay. I think that was
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that was a lot for Lisa, for everybody. That was a lot. So, okay. Well, as always, if you are someone who's asked a question and you want to give us an update, I would love to hear from you.
We love an update.
Email us at contact@clarityonfire.com. Tell us which question you were and give us your update. And, you know, if you hated our response, I really want to hear that too.
Sure.
I want to be
I'm open to other views.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Whatever. I mean, we take what we can out of a paragraph and we have to surmise a lot. So if we're not on base, tell me. I'll read it on the podcast.
Sure.
I'm not afraid. And if you want to ask a question, you can either fill out the form. There's a link in the show notes, or you can email us at contact@clarityonfire.com, subject line, Dear Krachel, and ask us anything about any area of your life that you got a question about or a conundrum about.
I know today was very career focused, but if you've listened to any of our other Dear Krachels, we get into relationships, we get into family stuff, we get into parenting, we get into all of it. So everything is fair game. So hit us with the best you got.
I wish people would ask us more stupid questions too.
You just said at the beginning that you discount the dumb questions.
Okay, so okay. Now, hold on. There's a difference between like questions that are like so obvious that I don't feel like they require a response or an answer, and then ones that are like kind of silly, but like they actually really don't know the answer to them and they're trying to figure it out, but it doesn't feel like high stakes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the, I guess that's the better way to say it, is a lot of the questions we get seem very high stakes because they're asking about really important areas of their life. And I'm fine with that. But like, I also appreciate a low stakes question, right? Where it's
and
like,
maybe people don't think that that's a good enough question, but
I might like it. So you never know if your question is low stakes, but it genuinely is like befuddling you.
A conundrum.
Yeah. I don't mind a low stakes, befuddlement.
Well, and I guarantee you other people are also befuddled by the same thing. So why not?
I find myself befuddled by things small and large and everything in between.
Now your 80-year-old self is coming out calling it befuddled.
I just think it's a nice word that people should use more often. All right. Well, that was that. And this is March. So I'm like, when are we in time and space? So we'll be back next Friday with, I believe, not that I've recorded it yet, but I will have by this point, a new episode with a normal person.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see you then.
Bye.